All right, let's dive into one of the most intense, high-stakes moments in the entire book of Exodus, the crisis of the golden calf. Now, this isn't just some old story. It's a powerful case study in leadership, what happens to a crowd when fear takes over, and the chaos that follows. And really, this is the question at the very heart of it all. What happens when your leader is gone, the future is a total question mark, and that low hum of anxiety boils over into absolute panic? What do people do? Well, the story of what went down at the base of Mount Sinai gives us a raw and frankly a pretty terrifying answer. Okay, so let's set the scene. You've got the Israelites camped out in the desert right at the foot of Mount Sinai. Their leader, Moses, he's up on the mountain, and he's been gone for what feels like forever. Down in the camp, patience has completely run out. Anxiety is curdling into real, genuine panic. I mean, the man who led them out of slavery has just vanished. And that creates a seriously dangerous power vacuum. And this is the breaking point. The people mob Aaron, who's Moses' brother, and they have this one desperate demand. You gotta understand, their faith in a God they can't see suddenly feels way too abstract, and their faith in their leader who isn't there has totally crumbled. They need something they can touch, something they can see. They don't just want a new leader, they want a new God. So, this is where the situation just goes from bad to worse and incredibly fast. Instead of trying to calm everyone down or, remind them of the promises they just made, Aaron just folds. He gives the people exactly what they're screaming for. And in doing so, he channels all that fear and panic into one disastrous act of creation. And just look how quickly this whole thing snowballs. You can see the steps right here. First, the people demand a god. Then Aaron tells them to bring him their gold earrings. Next, it's all melted down in a fire, and then bam, a golden calf is fashioned. It feels like in a matter of hours, an entire nation's founding principle is just tossed aside for a metal statue. And then comes this absolutely shocking declaration. They look at this lump of metal they literally just finished making, and they credit it with saving them from slavery in Egypt. Can you believe that? It's the ultimate betrayal, a complete rejection of the God who actually did the saving. But while this wild party is kicking off down in the camp, a very, very different conversation is happening up on the mountain. God sees everything that's going on, and his reaction is just pure, undiluted fury. This contrast right here is the absolute heart of the tragedy. Think about the timing. At the exact same moment that God is literally carving his laws into stone, the very foundation of their relationship, the people down below are breaking the first two commandments. You shall have no other gods before me, and you shall not make for yourself an idol. The irony is just staggering. God's anger is so white-hot that he basically proposes hitting the reset button on the entire nation. He tells Moses, just stand aside. Let me wipe them out, and I'll start over with you. I mean, the stakes just could not be any higher. But Moses doesn't stand aside, not for a second. In this moment, he completely transforms. He stops being just a prophet and becomes an intercessor, basically a defense attorney for his entire nation, standing between them and total annihilation. And you've got to pay attention to how he argues his case. He doesn't just beg for mercy. No, he uses logic. He appeals to God's reputation, saying, what will the Egyptians think? He points out how it just doesn't make sense. Why bring them all this way just to destroy them? And then the clincher. He reminds God of the unbreakable promise he made to their ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Israel. And the incredible thing is, it works. Moses' passionate, smart plea actually succeeds. God relents. He agrees not to wipe out the nation. It's just a stunning moment of negotiation and a true testament to Moses' leadership. But hey, don't get too comfortable. The crisis is far from over. Sure, Moses saved the people from God, but now he has to go down that mountain and face the rebellion himself. And the man who was so calm and logical with God is about to unleash his own kind of fury. So the second he gets down there and sees it with his own eyes, the calf, the dancing, the whole chaotic scene, Moses just explodes. And in this incredibly powerful, symbolic act, he takes those stone tablets and he smashes them to pieces at the foot of the mountain. The people broke the covenant, so he shatters the physical record of that covenant. So Moses confronts his brother Aaron, demanding to know what happened. And Aaron gives what might be one of the weakest excuses in all of history. He blames the people, and then he basically says, well, I threw their gold in the fire and poof, this calf just came out. It's an unbelievable failure of leadership and a total refusal to take responsibility. At this point, Moses knows he has to restore order, and fast. He stands right in the main gate of the camp and draws a line in the sand. He forces everyone to make a choice, shouting, "Who is on the Lord's side? Come to me." And it's his own tribe, the Levites, who rally to his side, ready to enforce some serious judgment. And the consequences are swift, and they are brutal. On Moses' command, the Levites go through the camp, and they execute the ringleaders of this rebellion. About 3,000 men are killed that day by their own kinsmen. Order is restored, but man, what a terrible price. So the act of rebellion has been put down, but that deep, profound sin against God is still hanging over everyone. The covenant is broken, the relationship is in tatters, and Moses knows he has to go back up that mountain one more time. But this time, he's not going to argue. He's going to beg for atonement. And what happens next might just be the absolute peak of Moses' leadership. He pleads with God to forgive the people, and then he makes this unbelievable offer. He says, "But if you won't forgive them, then erase me. Blot me out of the book you have written." He is literally offering up his own eternal fate for the people who just betrayed everything. And God agrees. The nation as a whole will be spared and he will lead them on. But, and this is a huge but, he draws a very sharp line. This does not erase personal guilt. He tells Moses, "Whoever has sinned against me, I will blot him out of my book." So the community is saved, but individual accountability, that is absolutely non-negotiable. And that's what leaves us with this huge, lingering question. The story of the golden calf is this incredible drama. It pits mercy against justice, the survival of the group against the responsibility of the individual, and it forces us to ask, where is that delicate line between forgiveness and accountability? It's a question they were wrestling with in the desert thousands of years ago, and if we're honest, it's one we are all still grappling with today.